Hello. What I'd like to see as many people in my field of vision as possible. So if you could sort of like concentrate. Hello. I see you weren't deterred by yesterday's awful experience. Oh, wait. This bloke here has something to say.
I don't know how many people weren't here yesterday, so a lot of you won't know what happened yesterday. I stood up and as I was walking around I found that I nearly fainted a few times. And I could feel that a few times. And I could feel that my flesh was being separated from my bones. And I said this to Roy from the back, and Roy said to me, "You haven't got a good bone in your body."
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I must have been walking in my sleep.
And I didn't want to accept it either. You know, I didn't like that. I don't think I resented it anyway. Well, I certainly remembered it. He said, "This man has not got a good bone in his body." Yeah, it's on tape.
I don't think I said it, but it's all right.
Yeah, it's on tape.
I don't think I said it, but it's all right.
Okay, well anyway, I'm glad you did. And last night I was talking to Deli here, and she was telling me what she saw about me. And initially I just didn't want to hear it. I just couldn't hear what she was saying at all. I didn't want to hear it. And then there was a point came where I got over something, and I just admitted to it. And it was something really awful. Basically, everything I've ever done for Deli has been for me, really, at the end of the line.
But the guy cleaned
Yeah.
his car, he's driving himself.
And when I got over that, I felt something inside me just grip my body. And I felt something inside me just grip my body. And I just was paralysed. My whole body was paralysed. And I was just couldn't move for about 10 minutes. And then I just completely broke down.
All right now?
No, because it's still in there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, give me my microphone.
No, because it's still in there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, give me my microphone.
Okay. And I'd like to apologise for resenting you, Roy.
All right. You want to give me a hug too?
Yeah. Thanks.
You used to hate his dad, didn't you? You found out he hated his dad because he projected his dad onto me, and I didn't hate him back, so he could see it. Yes. Do we have another microphone? And is that speaker working over there? Fine. Thank you very much. Let's see. So if you could, 1 second. Yeah, is that mic on? Mic on.
Could I just say that all that happened to me yesterday came from, it took me 2 hours standing at the back to actually admit this to you. And a series of events that's happened since that small moment of just standing up, and breaking through that. Just breaking through something, just to tell Roy that I was projecting my father onto him. The series of events that have come from that, it's just like what you said, it's the seed, that's the tree, and then a forest.
That's right.
And that's exactly what it was.
See what it is. He's had the courage to, face his problem. I mean, he couldn't admit he hated his father, but then he could see it as I helped to bring him to consciousness, because my consciousness brings people to consciousness, and his father's spirit brings him to see truth, like his father didn't want to see truth. See, and so whenever that mean spirit, that spirit of corruption gets inside you, it acts like the person you hate, because he wouldn't see it either.
Yes.
See, so you don't want to face the same way that the person you hated didn't want to face. And so, but you're not, that the person you hated didn't want to face. And so but you're not that person all the way through. Maybe your dad was. So now you've broken through and you've stopped being like him and you're becoming yourself.
Yes.
See how nice that is? So now, Oak over here.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I've had, even though I've spoken up to you, I have trouble speaking up to you. I have conflict when I don't say something, and I have something to say, and I have conflict when I do say something, because my dark side, up to my father. And
here it comes, you see? There it is there, see? The minute you start to talk about it, and you talk about it truthfully, you're going to get over it, see? Now today is the day for people to talk up. I don't want to...
coming off for the last couple of days, and I didn't want to say, I don't want to jump in, because I have this really big problem with pride.
Yes, of course.
And it's been the whole problem in my life. It's been the core thing that's been my whole problem. Resentment, lust, my ego, all my so-called ambitions, and everything's gone wrong. Everything, without any exception. I've come to this point of realization, and the reason I'm glad in a way, because if I was successful, what you were talking about with this guy the other
that
day,
would have been your
yes, definitely. See, I'm a very weak person, and God knows that if I had all these material things, I'm a very weak person, and God knows that if I had all these material things, and the sensuous part of me I had everything I wanted, I wouldn't be anywhere, and
it would destroy you.
Yeah,
because you think you're all right.
Yeah,
when you weren't.
that's right. And
think you're all right.
Yeah,
when you weren't.
that's right. And I just realised, I'm starting to realise my pride, and everything that's wrong with me is not me.
Ah. How so? Oh.
Everything. I'm anxious, I'm nervous. That I don't see that coming from God.
No.
A coward. I don't see that coming from God.
No.
And as I've started to see, I've started to separate from it. And I'm getting these really strong bodily reactions. When I'm here, anything good, I get a strong reaction, and my body just gives me hell, basically. And I feel things, bodily phenomena, and something's there. I just see it as one whole mass of things. I give it a name. Whole mass of things. I give it a name. I call it pride. That's what I call
correct.
it.
That's correct.
And
that's its root.
It's a bastard, basically.
Yeah.
You
are a rotten little bastard.
Yeah.
See, he loves it now.
I know that. And what you said yesterday really clicked with me. Now, I've been searching ever since I've been coming to the seminars, and I heard you. I discovered, obviously, relating to you, I resented my father. And my relationship with you has changed in how I felt. The fear has lessened because I'm not so guilty.
Mm-hmm.
To the degree I've given up my resentment towards my dad.
That's good.
And I feel better this seminar relating to you, but I had this problem of speaking up. I've had it all my life. It's a big thing with me that I've had this problem. A big thing with me that I've had this problem. And it's something that's really, it's not allowing me to be free. And it's the pride. It's the pride. And I thought it was me. All these needs I have for women, it's not me. The sexual, psychosexual stuff. And what you said clicked. Going back, is the resentment is because I have this resentment towards my father. I'm not discovering my Father. I'm not discovering the Father within. And this is what you're bringing...
You're following this, eh?
This is what you're bringing me to. And I've always wanted what you had. That's why it's so important. If you weren't as strong as what you are, I'd be crazy, and I'd probably be dead. And I love you for that strength. You're dead. And I love you for that strength. You don't push yourself forward. You stand back. You don't show weakness. I can't hate you for that. And I respect you. And
the love you have for what you see in me.
No, but I know. I want to be a complete person. No, Roy. And I'm not a complete person. You're showing me, but you're showing me the way to go. And this is what I'm dealing with now, a resentment towards my father, which I'm discovering. My dad's mother in my dad, and my dad in my mother.
Oh, yes.
And it's all the same thing. That's all I can only understand it in that way.
You know the old ancient mariner poem, water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Yeah. It's like women everywhere. That's everywhere. They're in your...
And keep it simple, you know.
The devil is a bitch.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I have this problem speaking up, and
do you gentlemen understand what you do now when you fail to be fathers to your... Do you gentlemen understand what you do now when you fail to be fathers to your children? And you let your wives rule? You know what's going to happen to this country when you let the female rule? All hell's break loose. I admit that man cannot rule himself, break loose. I admit that man cannot rule himself, but you've seen what happens with what you call democracies, you know, male-dominated democracies, and they don't do such a good job only because they're not men, they're female. Not men, they're female. Now, of course, now you discard the male. Then now you think, well, now it's the male in the species that's creating the problem. Let's try the women. You think you got problems with men? You just wait. You see what we have with women. You live in a living, so you're all right now.
I think so. Something else may come up later, right, which I may have to want to say, but that's it basically. It's let's see. I know that. I needed to do some. I'm watching these two tracks going along. There's my dark side. I'm watching these two tracks going along. There's my dark side, which I'm separated to see that what it's feeling is not me anymore. It tries to make me think that.
Well, I call it the not you.
Yeah, the not you. Yeah. And I know that I needed to do this because it was so difficult to do it. You know, my dark side just didn't want
exposed
to. I knew, therefore I needed it.
You see all these people?
Yeah.
They're all dumbed down. And there's hardly any of them have the courage to do what you do. And if they don't,
well, maybe
they won't get any better.
This will help them. Because the same thing, I'm everybody.
Everybody should realize in their own special way, with their own special, comments, commentary. Yeah. Yes, young lady.
Because I would just say, if you don't speak up when you move to say something, you get it from God, and when you do speak up, you're going to get it from the devil. But at least it's better. And when you do speak up, you're going to get it from the devil. But at least it's better.
It's true. You want to go to? We'd like to walk around a little bit with that microphone, and make some extra comments. And yeah.
Roy, I spoke to you for the first time yesterday. No, it was the day before. I'm a bit disorientated. I did see you on the Friday at a meeting, but we didn't have a chance to speak.
Get some water. Would you mind getting some water for me? Sorry, interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you.
And we just passed at lunchtime, and I just said to you, I just wanted to say a few words to you in passing, and you just said to me, what do you want to say? And I knew that you were speaking through intuition, because I've had to be strong myself, right from a little
You had to be
girl.
your own man.
Yes. And I've had problems all through my life with, or most of my life, it's sort of got worse in later life, of premenstrual syndrome.
What?
Premenstrual syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
And difficulties with menstrual syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
And difficulties with my menstrual cycle. And becoming like a shrew, literally, at that time. And in actual fact, my cycle has fallen right on this seminar. But it hasn't stopped me coming, and because I want to come to the light, because I want to be healed and be well. I've had one therapist after another therapist during my life. I've had 2 years of psychotherapy, 2 years of counselling. I've had under a daycare basis for 7 months. Been dragged around to psychiatrists from a little girl. But I've never ever trusted fully a therapist, because I realised that they were just human beings and they were failing just as I was failing. And they were failing just as I was failing. But I trust you because I see that there's something working through you. So today I feel that it's God that is my therapist here today. And I'm not looking at you as just being. I'm seeing that you're using your intuition, which is being led by God, and that's what I trust. Yes.
Your faith in it. See, it's the same for you. Whatever your problem is, I don't need to know the details. That's not necessary, because the root of your problem is, and that's the root of all your weird little deviations and conflicts and little sicknesses that are too complicated for human beings to understand.
No, I can't understand
Nobody will be understand them. But you will now know that there's a root cause, and there's a recognized cause and effect. Another problem you have, whether you're a male or a female, if you can just recognize the pridefulness that you have and the defensiveness that you put around with it, and how you seek support for it, whether you seek support in finding weakness in other people you can judge,
yes,
or support from other people who are weak, to look to you and support your ego.
yes, enough to scrap with me, are kind enough to tell me the truth, and courageous enough to tell me the truth, because I've got a very strong personality.
Do you understand the courageousness of a person to stand up to you, because they take their sanity in their hands, even
Yes.
as you do when you stood up? Even if you have to take the sanity in your hands, if you could stand up to the person who caused your illness.
Yes.
See?
My mother has been basically insane most of her life. She's like
Welcome to the club.
no different. She's no different. She's basically paranoid schizophrenic, where anything that anyone did, as far as she was concerned, they had planned to do against her.
You have some of that in you.
Yes, I know that. I'm aware of that.
But you're intelligent, and you in it like she is, so
No.
you can see the forest for the trees.
Yes.
And you have a recognition.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
And I'm just so thankful. And the word is, I feel privileged to have the opportunity to get close to you, and just to be here today, and all this that is on here is inside my body, which is like a pressure, and I feel filled up with something. Is evil too strong?
No.
Is that too strong a
No, it's
word?
not. It's the correct term.
Is it that? But that's what it feels like.
Yes.
I feel that there is something inside me that's got to come out, and I want it to come out. I really do.
Today's the day.
And I said to somebody last night, I just hope that my hair was like The Exorcist.
At least you could laugh at it.
I apologise in advance if there's any dreadful scenes. So
well,
anyway,
I can see in you as an innocent child, and it never grew.
Mm.
Something else grew in its stead, innocent child, and it never grew.
Mm.
Something else grew in its stead, and that
Yes.
little child is saying, "Let me out of here."
Yes, yes.
Let me out of here.
Yeah, she's in there. Anyway, look, I'll give somebody else a chance.
Okay.
We've had our differences in working together, and I've judged you, Jackie. I'm sorry for that. I've tried to stand up to you, but you're a very strong person to stand up against.
She said that. She said that. You didn't realize the good you were doing, even though you didn't know you were succeeding. That's sweet. But see, that experience that when you're dealing with a parent who's corrupted you, and when you're dealing with a parent who's corrupted you, and by you're a strong and crazy mother, and possessed by all hell, and she puts it in you because you don't know how to deal with that when as a small child, and then of course you, in your anger towards your mother, a little bit of her lives inside you, and the innocence that is in you is separated from its God. You see? And so you're chained to that monster. And you can't speak up to it because you don't speak up to hell. You don't speak up to Saddam Hussein. You see? And so that's the problem of speaking up to authority. Yeah. And that's what he had, the problem he had, speaking up to authority. Let me just put this so everybody can hear you.
I know that I'm a people pleaser. I don't like the fact that I am, because I like to think that I'm my own person. But I realise that, that's not the truth. I'm my own person. But I realise that, that's not the truth. So I don't want to just talk for the sake of talking, but, that's. I just wish that whatever is in here would come out. And just, I could be free of it and healed.
You've got my cross here. Let's see now. For you new people, you may have a surprise coming. Mother, come out of her. You don't belong. Find the nearest tax assessor and go in him. You make...
She's so strong, my mother.
No, she isn't. Don't struggle with her. See, you've been struggling with all your life. She's not strong, you're just weak. And you don't need to struggle. Let go and let God. See? He has a son. And this cross represents him. And it doesn't like, it doesn't like what this cross represents, his defeat. Come out of her. We're dealing with pure evil here. See? Not just psychology. Be clean. Come out in pure spirit. Because he loves you. even as your mother, the spirit in your mother hated you. Even as your mother, the spirit in your mother hated you. But don't hate back. See, just let her go. Poor pathetic wretch that she is, all right? She has no power. Not here. All right? You okay? All right? You okay? Huh? You okay? Yeah. Anybody don't believe in evil? Oh, I'll do that with you later. Do with you. I'll do everything. Do with you. I'll do everybody. I'll give everybody a rub of the cross. How many people have the first time they've ever been here? Are you surprised at this?
No.
Does it scare you?
She released me.
Yeah.
I cried my eyes out.
You did? You all right?
Yeah. I'm a volunteer, but I've got the opportunity. We're all here for a reason. We've all been damaged in our lives.
Yes.
I stand up here. I was severely damaged in my life. Damaged by people that just didn't understand. Damaged by people that just didn't understand. Just didn't have a chance. My mother died when I was 10. She was pregnant. I've learned, this was in 1953. I was to look after my mother. She was only 30 actually. She was pregnant, and it was too much for her heart, and she had to go in hospital, and the baby was premature. Lad lived 2 days, died, and my mother soon followed. Right? So I had a sister for 2 days. I was only child. My father was so distraught, he just took off. I've found in recent years that my father hit the bottle and he was in the road. But he got over all that and he come back and he tried to get access to me because my auntie took me in, my Aunt Ethel. She passed away in November at the age of 83. So I'm doing this for all them. They were up there watching me doing this. And my father tried to get access to me, and I was pushed around. I was going to be adopted. I nearly got in a kids' home. I got as far as the door. I had to come back again because they couldn't see me going to a kids' home. My auntie was going to adopt me, but my father stepped in at the last minute and took me back. I married again. He married a witch. From hearing your tapes, but I knew it all along anyway. Yeah, I had to go and live with my father.
The human comforter is always the witch.
Yeah,
because what you need is the Holy Spirit comforter. Now, if you want to deal with stress, you have to understand you can't deal with stress without God. Now, if you want to deal with stress, you have to understand you can't deal with stress without God. That's the point I made. I didn't say that up front because I don't want to scare you off. Because, you know, you've been frightened by God. People represent church people, and you know what I'm talking about. But you need to have Him really, because Him and you that can deal with the it out there in people, see.
But my father I used to get knocked around the head constantly, and I've been having counselling just lately, and I had counselling. I could still feel his fingers on my head, and that was 40 years ago. I knew it all along anyway, but I found Roy Masters by accident in 1983. We were just fiddling with the radio. I've told 1 or 2 people here I've spoken to for the last 2 days. Completely by accident. I don't think you can't remember what word you used, but you said grief. And it was what I knew all along anyway. You just endorsed what
The trouble is with you, all of you, is that you don't have faith. Now, what is meant by faith? You've always known the truth, but in a wordless way, you've rejected it, and the words of the world, the people around you have made you doubt it. See? Now, people around you have made you doubt it. See? Now that is, look, forgive me if I just take off on my own here a little bit, will you? Is that the root, the seed of all your illnesses and your diseases your sicknesses, most of them anyway, and your diseases, your sicknesses, most of them anyway, and your troubles and your mental emotional problems and your family problems is this little thing called pride. And pride is, now I want to speak to you plainly. I shall reveal myself. I shall reveal myself. Pride is the brainchild of hell. See, that's what it is. And it goes and it nurtures itself. And it goes back to the root of what planted it. In the look-alike people. The look-alikes. So the reason why you is because the crazy mother is in you. You follow that? Because that's all, a crazy mother is all you can be. But whatever goes with it makes it look different. Some guy blows his brains out, another person gets drunk, another person becomes a church hypocrite preacher. They're all the same. Becomes a church hypocrite preacher. They're all the same. It all depends on the little conditionings and the opportunities available to it to express itself. One becomes a bully, one becomes a wimp. Still a wicked little pride in there, and it's growing, and it gets nurtured. It's just like a tree. Whatever is in the gene of that tree, if it's an oak tree, it'll grow up to be an oak tree, and if it's a elm tree, it'll grow up to be an elm tree. So you see, wherever you get your nutrients from the world, yeah.
Grow into the thing that is dominating you, basically.
And see, you go into the thing that dominates you, but you think it's you. And you condemn yourself. Now, it isn't you. That's plain, is it? What's in you is not you, but it poses as you. And you condemn yourself, not you, but it poses as you. And you condemn yourself as you, as if it was you. You see, and it talks to you as if it was yourself. You see? And it's a very dangerous thing. Now, if we can now face it, you see, his young facing it, it melts, because one thing it cannot stand is the light of truth. Just like the vampire. It cannot stand. Now, if you sit there quietly and you don't say anything, and you just listen to me, and you think, is he going to come to me with that cross? Or is it, shall I speak up? No, I can't. You make all kinds of excuses not to say anything. But the thing is, you have to confess it. Scripture says, confess ye your sins to one another. Well, it's very important, because there's something about evil is that you protect it. See, it becomes very protective to the light. You make all kinds. It gives you the excuses to make for it. You're not even thinking for yourself. Every excuse you ever made, somebody ever thought of it already. You haven't got original thought in your head. The only original thought in your head is to realize you haven't got original thought in your head. And I just gave that one to you. In your head. And I just gave that one to you. And I mean. Oh, let me get some water.
Can I just finish off what I was saying?
I forgot you existed.
Yeah, I'm still here. It's for all the way I was brought up was pretty shocking time. I really was.
You got to come to a point though, because I don't need the story of your life.
I've been married a long.
Because we heard this the other day.
But I've had 3 kids. So I've made it.
Yes.
I've made it. I've come out on top.
Right.
So it's been really tough going, but not now. Oh no, not now. It hasn't been tough going from now on. From now on, it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
But that's the way. I've never been to a seminar in my life before.
Is this the first one?
This is the first one I've been to. I've listened to your tapes, seminar tapes, yeah, in Los Angeles. Laughing next door. We were talking about the strip shows where the parents take little kids. Laughing next door. We were talking about the strip shows where the parents take little kids.
Can't remember it now.
Yeah, I remember. 84. But I came here today not knowing what to expect today, but having some idea of what the process was going to be. And I sat on the bus, and the stair rods in my neck, yeah, stair rods. But I'm here. But no one told me what was going to happen today, but I had some idea of what the process was going to be.
Because I had kind of knowing what was going to happen today too. See,
But,
usually this is the third day, and we do a little preambling and we do moorings a little bit, and today's the day. We got somebody who wants to talk. Thank you very much. All right, so this is the day for getting it out, because you know what's going to happen. You're going to act as a catalyst for somebody else. So somebody else is going to identify with you, and you're going to have a little eruption for somebody else. So somebody else is going to identify with you, and you're going to have little eruptions here and there. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to fry me a bit, because I'm totally emotional. Excuse me, my English sounds Danish, so I'm looking for the words.
No, you're doing very well. You speak better English than these blokes around here.
Did on my husband. And
why is that?
yes, that's what I just can't figure it out. I can't see what it is. I have all kinds of possibilities. Oh, it could be that. Yeah, maybe it's that, when I hear at the seminar.
What?
But I know that I always wanted, as a child, I always wanted to be like the boys. It's like,
why?
I don't know really why. It could be
You
that I
didn't like your own femininity? You didn't like
something.
You didn't
I
like
don't
your
know,
mother? You
something
didn't like
that.
your mother? You didn't like being a woman?
I didn't like the way women. I didn't like the way women. I couldn't see it as a game, but I thought that the boys kind of seemed more honest, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand.
Something that you want to be.
Yeah.
But point is, you must understand something. That a good person, the sun shines on a fruit tree, and it's an orange tree and an apple tree standing next to each other. But when the sun shines on an orange tree, it becomes an orange tree, and it gives forth oranges. If it shines on the same soil, the same air, the same nutrients, but it is because the same nutrients, but it is because is what God made it, apple tree, and it becomes an apple tree. All you need is the sun to shine on you to be the whole and pure person you are. You are only a devious person by inheritance. In other words, if Adam had said, Eve, put the fruit down, I don't need you to support me. Eve, put the fruit down, I don't need you to support my ego. Let's not play rebellion against God, and let's not play the God game. If he had done that, then all women would have been as innocent as men would want them to be. But men don't want women to be innocent. They want them to be sex kittens. They don't want to be women. They don't want the men to be see if I can find the words for it. They don't want them to be honest. They want them to be dishonest. They want them to be guileful. They want them to be rotten. And why do I say that? It's because men are rotten. And why do I say that? It's because men are rotten. There's something rotten in a man, that is something just as slimy in a man that wants the woman to support his ego. And you see, he draws forth from the woman what a woman doesn't want to be for herself. But being married, the prerequisite to be married is that you have to be this to that man. And this is what you see about all women. Yeah. See? That doesn't mean to say you shouldn't want to be a woman and you want to be a man, but you can be a woman and you can be as innocent as you, but you're just going to have to learn that find the light that shines in, see, like you did just now. You're finding that light. You don't want to be that transformed, transmogrified woman, that serpentine female. Oh yeah, no, we haven't finished with him yet. No, don't worry. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. You're on your way to getting better now. See, and it knows it, doesn't it? See, it knows it inside that something is happening, and it doesn't. No. So it's already took root. It took root, but it cannot take root in you because you don't want it. You can't hold the cross up to Adolf Hitler because he likes what he is. So you have to not like what you are to get the help. Father?
But you see, then my problem became that I took over all the bad sin.
Of course.
I did. So now I'm struggling. But my problem is that I married a man who don't want to use me sexually. Because I knew inside what I really wanted was someone to cuddle me and to think I was beautiful and lovely. And I couldn't understand it was someone to cuddle me and to think I was beautiful and lovely. And I couldn't understand why the boys didn't do that when I was just as good at them, you know, wrestling and things like that. But I knew that my dark side of me wanted to be cuddled. So I married a man who wouldn't cuddle me because I thought, you know, that would be the best for me.
No.
Because I thought, you know, that would be the best for me.
No, I didn't understand that. If you wanted someone to cuddle you...
My dark side wanted someone to cuddle me, but I realized this is not good for you and you will hate him for it. So I married a guy who wasn't coming. And now my problem is that I know that's stupid because that's what you don't want. But it's kind of... Now I'm in, you know, what you talk about to the men, you know, they have to, you know, go with a woman in order to get some sex. That's my problem. I have to do all kinds of things in order to get him to want me.
You see,
I have the bad woman and I have the bad man inside of me.
You recognize
I wanted the best from the both worlds. I got the worst from the both worlds.
Yes.
And
well, that reminds me of Bernard Shaw. I know he's a bit of a twit, if you pardon the expression. Did you? Is it? Thank goodness. I tried it anyway. And he once was going with a very beautiful woman. But he was pretty ugly. But he had a brilliant mind, so they say. I don't think so myself. But anyway. And so the beautiful actress said to Bernard Shaw, you know, wouldn't it be nice to Bernard Shaw, you know, wouldn't it be nice if you and I got married because you have such a beautiful brain and I have such a beautiful body. Do you imagine what beautiful children we could have if we made it? He said, but madam, what if our children had your brain and my body? You don't know what kind of combination you got, right? Are you finished with that?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not finished.
All right, it's kind of
I can see myself suffering and suffering because I think that the only affection I get from him is when I get him to get me some sex. That's the only time I feel. He's a nice father to the children, that's for sure. But it's like, I don't know. He's for sure. But it's like, I don't know. He could live on an island all alone, you know. And I admire him for it, but I don't feel that I don't really think he cares for me, in a way.
You think I care for you?
I know you care for me.
What can he display, do I?
No.
Well, does he have to make a display?
No.
Maybe you're tangled up. See, maybe you're tangled up wanting... See, I'm not your husband.
No.
Husbands perform the different services than people like myself.
Yeah.
Maybe you have what you don't know you have.
Yeah.
Could be that you have...
Yeah.
I think you're going to be all right. You see, I think you're going to be all right because just understanding it. You see, the thing I think is that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't situation. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, each time you, in other words, situation. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, each time you, in other words, if you married a man for what reason? Give me the first reason, and then I'll criticize it. Give me why did you marry?
Why I married him?
For what reason?
Because I knew I needed sex. That's the only reason. Why else should you?
No, but you married him for another reason, for the peace of the man, the carefreeness, right?
I married him. I took him because I knew he would be the best man for me.
No, how did you make that decision, though?
Because I knew he wouldn't run along with me. I mean, he wouldn't give me the things I wanted, which was bad for me.
Yes, and what was that?
Making me feel like a queen.
And so he doesn't make you feel like a queen,
no,
right?
No, certainly queen.
And so he doesn't make you feel like a queen,
no,
right?
No, certainly not.
But do you resent him not making you feel like a queen?
Yeah, that's maybe the problem.
See?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You married a man for a certain purpose. Now, there's an ego that still hasn't been purged from you.
Yeah.
And no man can win with that ego. I've often said, maybe you've heard me say it before, but I bring it forward again for what it's worth, department, that when you're dealing with a woman who's very judgmental, who is a tormented soul, she judges you for two reasons. She judges you for being perfect, you make her uncomfortable, and you don't give her the worship she wants.
Yeah, that's true.
See? But that would be good for her, but you show her up for what she was, and you starve her ego, and you make her feel rejected, and you make yourself seem superior to her, and she wants to be superior to you, but if she can't tear you down, if women tend to want to knock a man down subconsciously, seduce him. It's like Superman.
Yeah.
What was her name? Lois Lane? So Superman, she always wanted Superman, but Superman was out of her reach. And Superman then one day decided he'd become immortal so he could enjoy the human nuptial bliss. And so he went through his little crystal thing and became an ordinary man. And when he became an ordinary man, she couldn't stand him and he couldn't stand himself. See? And what I'm saying is that
For more information, please write to FHU 27 Old Gloucester Street, London, WC1N 3XX, or email FH